Hi there, I'm Grace Villaraya, and I'll be with you to present the concept of constructivism. Our objectives are: define constructivism. Second, identify the three types of constructivism. Third, determine the principles of constructivism. Fourth, point out the features of a constructivist classroom. And lastly, familiarize the pedagogical goals of constructivist classrooms. Let's begin with a question: what is constructivism? Constructivism is an approach to learning that holds that people actively construct or make their own knowledge, and that reality is determined by the experiences of the learner. By Eliot et al., 2000. In elaborating constructivists' ideas, Arendt's 1998 states that constructivism believes in personal construction of meaning by the learner through experience, and that meaning is influenced by the interaction of prior knowledge and new events. There are three types of constructivism. First, cognitive constructivism, based on the work of John Piaget. Second, social constructivism, based on the work of Lev Vygotsky. And third, radical constructivism. Constructivism can be traced back to educational psychology in the work of John Piaget, identified with Piaget's theory of cognitive development. Piaget focused on how humans make meaning in relation to the interaction between their experiences and their ideas. His views tended to focus on human development in relation to what is occurring with an individual as distinct from development influenced by other persons. Cognitive constructivist Jean Piaget viewed intellectual growth as a process of adaptation to the world. This happens through assimilation, which is using an existing schema to deal with a new object or situation. Accommodation. This happens when the existing schema or knowledge does not work and needs to be changed to deal with a new object or situation. Equilibrium or equilibration. This is the force which moves development along. Piaget believed that cognitive development did not progress at a steady rate, but rather in leaps and bounds. Equilibrium occurs when a child's schemas can deal with most new information through assimilation. However, an unpleasant state of disequilibrium occurs when new information cannot be fitted into existing schemas. Equilibration is the force which drives the learning process, as we do not like to frustrate it and will seek to restore balance by mastering the new challenge. Once the new information is acquired, the process of assimilation with the new schema will continue until the next time we need to make an adjustment to it. Piaget's 4 stages of cognitive development. Piaget proposed 4 stages of cognitive development which reflect the increasing sophistication of children's thought. First, sensory stage, birth to age 2. Second, pre-operational stage from age 2 to age 7. Third, concrete operational stage from age 7 to age 11. Fourth, formal operational stage, age 11 up to adolescence and childhood. Each child goes through the stage in the same order, and child development is determined by biological maturation and interaction with the environment. Although no stage can be missed out, there are individual differences in rate at which children progress through stages, and some individuals may never attain the later stages. Sensory stage, the main achievement during this stage is object permanence, knowing that an object still exists even if it is hidden. It requires the ability to form a mental representation or a schema of the object. In pre-operational stage, during this stage, young children can think about things symbolically. This is the ability to make one thing, a word or an object, stand for something other than itself. Thinking is still egocentric, and the infant has difficulty taking the viewpoint of others. Then, in concrete operational stage, Piaget considered the concrete stage a major turning point in the child's cognitive development because it marks the beginning of logical or operational thought. This means the child can work things out internally to their head rather than physically try things out in the real world. Children can conserve number, age 6, mass, age 7, and weight, age 9. Conservation is the understanding that something stays the same in quantity even though its appearance changes. And in formal operational stage, the formal operational stage begins at approximately age 11 and lasts into adulthood. During this time, people develop the ability to think about abstract concepts and logically test hypotheses. And for sociocultural constructivist Lev Vygotsky, according to Lev Vygotsky, much important learning by the child occurs through social interaction with a skillful tutor. The tutor or a teacher may model behaviors or provide verbal instructions for the child. Vygotsky refers to this as a cooperative or collaborative dialogue. The child seeks to understand the actions or instructions provided by the tutor or teacher, often the parent or teacher, then internalizes the information, using it to guide or regulate their own performance. Lev Vygotsky views interaction with peers as an effective way of developing skills and strategies. He suggests that teachers use cooperative learning exercises where less competent children develop with help from more skillful peers within the zone of proximal development. Another sociocultural constructivist is Jerome Bruner. He emphasized that the social nature of learning, citing that other people should help the child develop skills through the process of scaffolding. Scaffolding means the steps taken to reduce the degrees of freedom in carrying out some task so that the child can concentrate on the difficult skill she is in the process of acquiring. The notion of radical constructivism was developed by Ernst von Glaserfeld and states that all knowledge is constructed rather than perceived through senses. Learners construct new knowledge on the foundation of their existing knowledge. However, radical constructivism states that the knowledge individuals create tells us nothing about reality and only helps us to function in your environment. Thus, knowledge is invented, not discovered. There are many principles of constructivism. First, knowledge is constructed. Constructivism's central idea is that human learning is constructed, that learners build new knowledge upon the foundation of previous learning. This prior knowledge influences what new or modified knowledge an individual will construct from new learning experiences, by Phillips 1995. Second, learning is an active process. Learning involves sensory input to construct meaning. A student needs to do something in order to learn. It's not therefore a passive activity. Constructivism states that learners construct meaning only through active engagement with the world, such as experiments or real-world problem solving. So, students need to engage in the world so they are actively involved in their own learning and development. One can't just sit and expect to be told things and learn. Students need to engage in discussion, activities, readings, and the like. All knowledge is socially constructed. Learning is a social activity. It is something we do together in interaction with each other rather than an abstract concept. By Dewey, 1938. Vygotsky, 1978, believed that community plays a central role in the process of making meaning. For Vygotsky, the environment in which children grow up will influence how they think and what they think about. Knowledge is personal. Each individual learner has a distinctive point of view based on existing knowledge and values. This means that same lesson, teaching, or activity may result to different learning by each pupil as their subjective interpretations differ. And lastly, learning exists in the mind. The constructivist theory suggests that knowledge can only exist within the human mind and that it does not have to match any world reality. By Driscoll, 2000. Learners will constantly develop their own individual mental model of the real world from their perceptions of that world. As they perceive each new experience, learners will continually update their own mental models to reflect the new information and will therefore construct their own interpretation of reality. Let's move on to the features of a constructivist classroom. TAM 2000 lists the following four basic characteristics of constructivist learning environments, which must be considered when implementing constructivist teaching strategies. First, knowledge will be shared between teachers and students. Second, teachers and students will share authority. Third, the teacher's role is one of a facilitator or guide. Fourth, learning groups will consist of small numbers of heterogeneous students. Let's compare traditional classroom with constructivist classroom. Traditional classroom basically it has a strict adherence to a fixed curriculum is highly valued. Then for constructivist classroom, pursuit of student questions and interests is valued. Traditional classroom, learning is based on repetition, while in constructivist classroom, learning is interactive, building on what the student already knows. Then traditional classroom, teacher-centered, while constructivist classroom is a student-centered. And for traditional classroom, teachers disseminate information to students. Then students are recipients of knowledge. This is a passive learning. While constructivist classroom, teachers have a dialogue with students, helping students construct their own knowledge. It's a active learning. Then another traditional classroom teacher's role is directive, rooted in authority. While constructivist classroom teacher's role is interactive, rooted in negotiation. And another traditional classroom students work primarily alone. They're competitive. While in constructivist classroom, teacher's role as interactive, rooted in constructivist classroom, students work primarily in groups. They are cooperative. What are the pedagogical goals of constructivist classrooms? Hornbein, 1996, summarizes the 7 pedagogical goals of constructivist learning environments. First, to provide experience with the knowledge construction process. Students determine how they will learn. Second, provide experience in and appreciation for multiple perspectives, evaluation of alternative solutions. Third, to embed learning in realistic context, authentic tasks. Fourth, to encourage ownership and the voice in the learning process, student-centered learning. Fifth, to embed learning in social experience, collaboration. And sixth, to encourage the use of multiple modes of representations like video, audio, text, etc. Seventh, to encourage awareness of the knowledge construction process like reflection, metacognition. Then Brooks 1993 lists 12 descriptors of constructivist teaching behaviors. First, encourage and accept student autonomy and initiative. Second, use raw data and primary sources along with manipulative, interactive, and physical materials. Third, when framing tasks, use cognitive terminology such as classify, analyze, predict, and create. Fourth, allows student responses to drive lessons, shift instructional strategies, and alter content. Fifth, inquire about students' understanding of the concepts before sharing your own understandings of those concepts. Sixth, encourage students to engage in dialogue both with the teacher and with one another. Seventh, encourage student inquiry by asking thoughtful, open-ended questions and encouraging students to ask questions of each other. 8. Seek elaboration of students' initial responses. Ninth, engage students in experiences that might engender contradictions to their initial hypothesis and then encourage discussion. 10. Allow wait time after posing questions. 11th, provide time for students to construct relationships and create metaphors. Lastly, nurture students' natural curiosity through frequent use of the learning cycle model. And the benefits of constructivism in teaching. First, children learn more and enjoy learning. Second, promote divergent thinking. Third, education works best when it concentrates on thinking and understanding rather than on rote memorization. Then, boost confidence of learners. So, students will develop cultural understanding so they can communicate adequately, develop collaborative skills, and develop content knowledge. That ends my report. Thank you.